Hey guys, Arwen here. So today I'm excited. I want to talk to you all about collapsing time and bringing the future you into the now. So something I've been doing a lot lately is quantum emotional clearing. So I've been clearing emotional patterns that are in my mind, that are in my body, that are in my energy field, and just absolutely deleting them. So when you think about collapsing time, I feel like there's a lot of things I could say around it. In order to be the future you, the you that already has the thing that you're trying to create, that future version of you has certain thoughts, they have certain emotions, they have certain responses to things, etc. And that version of you and the version of you now is thinking different things and taking different actions. And I feel like there's so many different ways that I can come at this subject, but the thing that's become really clear to me lately is the number one way that I am finding to collapse time and collapse into that future version of me that is working is emotional clearing. Clearing the emotional patterns between me and that future version of me, okay? So one thing that I've noticed is that in myself and people that I work with, and it's so clear to me now, I literally don't know how I didn't see this before, but every day we get up and we choose to do certain things. We choose to do those things based on how we feel. Most of us do, especially if you're female, you're intuitive, etc. Right? You know, you're doing it based on what you feel. If you're like more of like this alpha male energy, and you're ignoring your emotions, not that all alpha males do that, but if you're kind of in that energy and you're not listening to your emotions, you can probably do a lot of stuff and totally ignore your emotional situation. But if you're like a clairvoyant, intuitive, feminine person like I am, like you can't do that. Like that doesn't work. People tell you to like, oh, remove the emotion, set it aside, and you're like, I can't fucking do that. And like, I can't do that. I mean, I guess I could, but I don't choose to, and I find my emotions are very valuable. Like their feedback, and so I like that, but also I'm not interested in letting my emotions sabotage me and keep me small. So regarding clearing emotions, a lot of times you'll make the decision based on what you want to do, based on how you feel. Now if you have a million bits of like resistance issues, fears, terrors in the like are like in the body, like in your bodily structure, you're not going to do the thing that you would do if you didn't have all that emotional baggage and all that crap and all that stuff. The example that I want to use is like showing up more. I had so much resistance to showing up more on the internet, even though I had like a million things I want to say, because I had so many issues and problems and on and on and on. I could have written you like 3 pages about it, and I did. But, you know, I stopped and I was like, you know, I'm just not interested in having these issues anymore. So I just freaking deleted them. I quantumly went delete, ran the clearing energy through my body and discarded it. So I was like, I don't need this anymore. And it's crazy to me. Now I'm like, how could I not do that? Like, I have shown up every single day on the internet for, I'm going to get out my calendar because I've been tracking it. This is day 11. This is day 11, right? Because I've been writing it on my calendar. And every day, like, I put my little circle, etc. Because I've been tracking different daily activities that I've been doing to build new habits. And now I'm like, how on earth did I not show up every day? It's so simple and it's so easy. But it's so easy because I'm emotionally clear. And it took me about maybe an hour and a half of like a serious deep dive clearing session in order to like reorient myself. And then I made a commitment. I made a choice. I'm going to show up every day for 30 days, and now I feel like maybe I'll just make that for 6 months, right? Because it feels easy to me because I collapsed the emotional patterns that were in the way of me doing the thing that I wanted to do. And I've done all sorts of things in order to change things, orient them around. Like I like journaling, there's energy work that I do from a different perspective, and you know, that energy work is fabulous and it's great for lots of things, and I still do that energy work. But lately I've been doing specific laser-like sessions with people to clear the emotional shit, because what I've noticed, not just in myself but in the people that I've worked with the past, I would say 4 weeks, that's what I've been like going hard on the emotional clearing. is that they're changing like rapidly and drastically, and it's like, damn girl, it's like, I'm so proud of you, like that's great. And like I'm not surprised, because like I've been doing that. I've rapidly changed massively in the past, I would say 6-7 weeks. And so, you know, in order to bring the future you into the now, you've got to hook into that emotion. So another thing that I want to bring up is that sometimes when people are talking about things, it feels sticky, right? It feels like I could grab out and touch it. And I noticed that someone can be talking about something that they're upset about, it's bothering them, there's an emotional charge there, it's sticky, I feel like I can reach out and grab it. Whenever that happens, I can tune into that emotion and then follow that emotion back to the core cause root of the issue, which generally it appears to me as some past life thing. And I'm not saying every issue in life is a past life issue, but just go with my story here. So I'll be talking to someone, I'll be able to follow the emotion back, and then I can tell them what happened to them in that other lifetime and the choices they made and the dominant emotional currents, right? And the other people around them and what they didn't know and what the thing was that they were missing from the situation, and etc. And I can do all that and collapse the pattern, because it drains the emotion out of it by reading the truth, right? By reading the truth of the situation, of the stuck pattern, it dismantles the stuck pattern and it just deletes it, right? Which means that emotional pattern that's playing out in that other reality, that other time space, that other lifetime of that person also collapses in their current reality, right? Because there's a resonance, there's an emotional resonance, okay? Of what was happening in that other time period and what's happening in the time period now. And I did, oh my God, I did so many sessions like that, and with other people, with myself, like freaking a million people. And I realized that almost like all the emotions that you're playing out in your daily reality, they have some resonance in some other time space. Which if I wasn't able to perceive that, I wouldn't know that. But I remember when I realized that, I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Like we really are interdimensional holographic beings, like what's in one square is in all the squares, right? And it was just so interesting that my life and all the emotions that I feel are, each emotion really can be traced to a different lifetime. So kind of I'm playing out a malagration, that's not a word, is it? I don't know, but I'm playing out this whole thing of all the emotions from the other lifetimes. Okay, but I'm getting off track. Okay, the point of my story with that was that when something happens in this life, and I can find the emotion in that other lifetime, how I'm able to tap into it and collapse it and clear it is by hooking into the emotion, right? Hooking into it and then clearing it. So what I've been doing lately is moving into the future version of me and like hooking into it emotionally, because I'm so good at that and it makes sense and it freaking works. The difference between you and the future version of you that has whatever the thing is that you're trying to resolve, create, whatever, in fact probably doesn't even have a problem, that part of you, that you already exists, and that you has a different emotional pattern configuration than you do, right? That part of you has already collapsed certain patterns. That part of you has already cleared certain emotional issues. That part of you has already learned certain lessons, had certain epiphanies, etc. So what I'm finding in my work is that the most effective way to help somebody move from where they are to where they want to be is the emotional collapsing of those patterns, right? The emotional collapsing of the patterns. And when you collapse the emotional patterns, it dismantles the charge, right? The charge just goes away. That charge is, the emotional charge is what keeps the patterns in place, right? And so what happens is that these patterns in your field, the universe is responding to you and then creating based on the patterns in your field. So when people say your thoughts create your reality, that's true, kind of. It's semi-true. I don't feel like it's the deepest truth. The deeper truth is that what the fuck's going on in your energy field is creating your reality. That includes thoughts, belief systems, karmic stuff, etc. Ancestral stuff, whatever. Divisions in your consciousness. There could be a million things. And by the way, ancestral stuff and karmic stuff can just be energetically deleted. You just delete the charge. all right? And it's like, it's not that hard. People think that it's hard because it's just not a concept in our society that stuff is easy to change, delete, and transmute, but it is. Like, when you learn how to do it, you're like, oh, that was easy. Like, why did I live with that for so long? That was dumb. And it is dumb until you figure it out. And then you're like, oh, I'll just delete that. But anyway, so that's probably my perspective, and that's probably so easy for me, though, because I'm like a Merlyn archetype. I'm sure you've noticed. So when you have these patterns in your field that are going on, you have certain ideas, you have certain vantage points about how things are or they have to be, and then you have real world emotional responses in your body. For instance, like when I was wanting to do more videos, because I love video. When I was thinking about doing that and all the different things that I want to talk about, I had a lot of emotional resistance, meaning I had a lot of charge, right? So many emotional charges that was just holding this whole pattern of all these thoughts and ideas about what was possible and not possible for me in place. Well, the future me doesn't have those ideas and doesn't have those issues and doesn't have that emotional charge because those emotions aren't there, right? So by collapsing the emotional charges between me and that future version of me, I've rapidly pulled that future version of me into place. And just like how I was tapping into the emotional charge when people would talk about past life stuff. So just as energy goes backwards, it goes forwards. Just as you can trace it to a past life trauma, you can actually trace the emotion to a future life, like epic, amazing reality set, right? I'm trying to think about what else I wanted to tell you guys about this subject. So by collapsing, neutralizing, transmuting the emotional things in my body, in my cellular structure, in my consciousness, in my emotional body, I've changed my emotional set point, and now I find it very easy to actually show up and do the things that I need to do and that have divinely downloaded in my head to do. Because before, I would get like these divine downloads / instructions of, you need to do this, do more video, you love doing video, from my higher self, and I had so many issues I couldn't carry it out. And I noticed that what was happening, because I did do a lot of journaling recently, maybe like a month ago, I had gone through the journaling, which is not something I do very often, and I was just reading to see like where I was at certain points and certain times, and I noticed that I had been stagnant and not moving as far as I wanted to. And what was causing that was that I wasn't deleting the emotions. What was happening was that I was just playing out Groundhog Day. I was constantly in struggle. A month later, I was still in struggle, just like I was the month before, the month before, and the month before. And maybe the struggle had, abated a little bit, but the struggle was still there. And as I was reading it, I was realizing that there were certain things that I was trying to do to compensate for not being able to figure out how to move forward because I couldn't collapse the emotional resistance, okay? And from working with people, I've noticed the most freaking effective thing to get somebody to move their butt in the direction they know they need to go in is to collapse and clear the emotional debris in their body so that they can be clear. And then they'll just suddenly, out of nowhere, do the thing. They'll just do the thing. Sometimes people will get to a fuck this shit moment, right? They'll get to that moment, they'll be like, oh my God, I've had enough of this. And they'll just blow up, delete, cast aside all those emotions and do the thing anyway, right? Suddenly, they're no longer willing to let the fear rule them. They get over it and they move on. If you haven't gotten to a fuck this shit moment, or you don't feel like waiting for it to happen, because usually a fuck this shit happens when we are so fed up. I mean, so fed up with what has happened. We're like, no, we're done here. We're fucking done, right? And then you'll move on. So if you don't want to wait for that, which I don't think you should. You can just delete the emotions now, which is what I've been doing. And like, I have emotional resistance. Oh, I just delete that, right? I maybe journal 10-15 minutes, get clear on what the patterns are, and then freaking come in and delete it in one fell swoop. So yeah, it's good stuff. All right. If you guys resonated with what I'm saying, and you can feel, you're like, oh, this is what I needed to hear. This is still what I needed to hear. I'm so glad I clicked on this video. Then if you want, you all can book on my calendar, because I've opened up my emotional clearing sessions, and they're the best thing ever. It's basically what I've been talking about for the past however long. But yeah, it's so good. And if it speaks to your heart, if it feels good to you, if you want to delete like these patterns in your subconscious that you don't need anymore, and you're ready to rapidly shift things, change things, just like quantumly orient everything around, then I'm your girl for that. So it's on the front of my website. It's on the front page. I think I also put the page under work with me, so it'll be there. But anyway, the book now button is there. They're going to be open until the end of the week on Saturday, and then there's some other offer that has bubbled up that I'm really excited about that I'll talk about next week. But anyways, that's good stuff. So you guys want to get in on that, you can book on my calendar. I'm in the Eastern time zone. And yeah, I can't wait to talk to you all. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was super helpful. I'll talk to you later. Bye.